I'm ready to go.
Welcome, everybody, to the Grueling Truths Legends of Boxing show brought to you by MyBookie.ag. I'm your host for the Boxing Legends show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host, Jeremiah Preisser.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be on. Always happy to be on. Let's do an interview, Mike.
All right. Our guest tonight's the former WBA Super Bantamweight champion. Help me welcome to the show, Clarence Bones Adams. How you doing, Bones?
I'm good. I'm here in Las Vegas. Nice old weather, so just leaving the gym myself.
All right, so we'll get to your gym and what you're doing nowadays here in a little bit, but we're going to start off. What kind of background did you have? I know you were born in Kentucky. How did you get into the sport of boxing?
Well, I started at 5 years old. My brother was 10 and going to school and having trouble, and the school wasn't doing anything about it. So what we did was started boxing for self-defense, and then one thing led to another. Started doing quite well. I loved it, and I assume I was 5 years old. My brother was 10, of course, and then boxing in Kentucky. So we ended up moving to Detroit. But I was probably 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, and a lot of people are unaware that you had an extensive amateur background. From what I read, and I don't know if this is accurate, but I saw somewhere that you had 170-plus amateur fights. Is that right?
That's the ones that was counted. I was probably like 176-4, yeah.
So you had a little more than that?
Yeah, of course, because a lot of these national tournaments and stuff, my dad would make sure I fought somewhere. I mean, like the national power I would go to, and it's an open national tournament. The next thing you know, there's 6, 7 kids in my weight division. Next thing you know, they see what weight division I'm in. Then they leave the weight division. They don't fight. They won't fight me. Some I won by walkover a couple national tournaments because no one would fight me. So we'd be out in this parking lot with people like Lamar Parks, if you guys know who he is. We make a square with people, and me and him be boxing out in the middle of the parking lot.
All right, so the thing that really shocked me is... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then every national tournament that I fought, National Junior Olympics, National Silver Gloves, I won outstanding boxer in every single tournament. So.
All right, so let's go ahead, fast forward. You turned pro at the age of 15. Number one, was that legal, or did you have to lie about your age?
Yeah, I had to lie. I turned pro in Tennessee. What is back then is they hand you a piece of paper, told you to fill it out. So I just lied and said I was 16. Because there's like 5 states that you can fight at the age of 16, and Tennessee was one of them.
All right, and you want to talk a little bit about your pro debut?
Yeah, I was 15, and not really. I turned pro at like 130 pounds. I fight this guy. He had hundreds of pro fights. His name is Semi Black, and I just outboxed him and stuff. Didn't knock him out because he's a veteran. And I was a kid, but way out of my weight division as well. So it took 5 or 6 fights for me to realize, to lose weight and stuff, to get down in weight. And I would get down to 118.
Yeah, Semi Black was one of those Reggie Strickland type characters where he fought anybody and everybody anywhere. Yeah, I think he had like 133 losses or something when he fought. But how did you get the nickname Bones?
First of all, my name is Clarence. No, I'm just kidding about that. I hate the Clarence, but I was a kid. I was 5 years old, really skinny, bony. Needed nicknames, and they just call me Bones since I was born. So I just love that. I hate Clarence. I hate Richard. I hate Junior. So I always want my Bones Adams my whole life.
Now, real quick, as a white kid in Detroit, did you have other nicknames? I mean, as a white kid in boxing in Detroit, did you have other nicknames?
They listen, can I tell you something? Like, I've been on both sides of the spectrum of being racism. I've been with black people, and they refuse to serve them. I've been, and in my lifetime, I didn't think it would be in my lifetime because I'm only 43, but it was still going on then. But up in Michigan, when I was going through there in the 80s and 90s, it was really bad for a white person. It was like reverse racism up there. There's nothing you could do, and I would get handcuffs and just throwing back a squad cars to check me out. You name it, just because they would call me names as I was jogging down the street while I was walking down the street. There's nothing you can do about it. So.
All right. Now, you were trained from a young age by your father. I know a lot of guys, a lot of boxers, have bad experiences with that. Seems like maybe yours wasn't. You want to talk a little bit about that relationship between you and your father?
I don't know where you got your information from, but it's kind of right, kind of not. My dad, when I was younger, claimed to train me, but
that's where I got my information, Bones.
You mean I trained myself? He claimed to train me, but in the long run, he would come in and watch me spar or something like that, and just and then bitch at me, and I'd teach myself on how to get better and not to get hit with the right hand or not how to throw a right hand by watching other people. But when I went to Detroit, I worked with a trainer named Keith Jackson, and that's who probably taught me the basics and the most of it. Of my boxing and my skills and my style. And then he was in and out of my life throughout my whole career. So.
Yeah. And speaking of the basics, I mean, one thing that I loved about watching you was that you had a fantastic jab. And guys who have a good jab, I always like to ask where that came from. I mean, some guys just seem to understand the importance. Some people have to get that training to understand it. And you used it really well against, in your build up to your 26-0-1 record, and then the fight with Orlando Canizales. Where did you learn to jab like that? I mean, was that just something you understood from the beginning?
Well, no, I used to watch a lot of Sugar Ray Leonard, and I used to just watch him, mimic and stuff, and Hagler, Hearns, all those guys. I would guess I would fight more like it. I used to love Sugar Ray Leonard the way he fought, and that's kind of like where I got it from, just watching other people and just trying just different ways and stuff. That's the thing too is with Orlando. My dad, he's supposed to be a manager and stuff, and anyways, he was robbing me and stuff even at that point, but he put me in with Atlanta Canada. I was the youngest fighter to ever fight for a title, and he was trying to beat Wilfred Benitez, and I think that I would have beat Orlando if it would have been in the States, but I was lied to. I was lied to because they said that, but we'll go to neutral territory. We'll go to France, even no one's been there before. And then once we got there, I'm only 17 years old. And the next thing you know, people was coming up to like, "Oh, we're good, great to have you back." Oh, back? He fought there before. And then one of the judges was from Texas. I didn't know how it worked as a professional. I was still 17 years old. And one of the judges was from his home state, and I thought everything was against me, and just a bad experience.
Yeah,
but even being at the third round, the very first punch of the third round, I got both sides of my jaw broke. And when it happened, I fought to the 11th round. Then my dad stopped it. Said, "I can't see you get hit anymore." Whoever won the last round would have won the fight. It was that close of a fight. Now, I could have been the youngest champ, but he stops it. He lets me get hit for 9 rounds, but then one more round, being the youngest world champion ever, he stops it.
Yeah, and Canizales is a future Hall of Famer when you fought him, and I mean to be able to do that.
Well, oh yeah.
Yeah, to be able to do that at the age of 17, I mean, was absolutely amazing, and it had to at least give you some confidence that I can beat anybody.
All right, yeah. The funny thing is, the next fight I go out there, she had a bad luck. Next fight I go out there and fight Frankie Toledo. He turned out to be a champ of the world, but I was beating him easy. And I threw a left hook, and he's a southpaw, and he came up under my arm and dislocated my shoulder in that fight. And I lost that fight because my shoulder dislocated. So the next thing you know, my next fight, the same situation. They said, "Well, you don't do surgery. It's okay." I was beating. It was a bum. I'll be honest. He's a bum. I just want to see how my shoulder was. I was out there. I was boxing him. They dropped him a couple times. And the next thing you know, my shoulder dislocated again. So then I took some time off and then continued my streak of wins.
Yeah, and then you ended up fighting Kevin Kelly, and that ended up being a majority draw. What do you remember of that? I mean, from all accounts, you gave him a hard night's work.
Well, you want to tell you the truth, I think I won that fight as well. They call it a draw. Kevin and I are friends as well, and but even then, I felt like I won the fight because I made him fight my fight. I didn't fight his fight, and I feel like I won the fight. I landed two more, and he was there. I was the opponent at that time, and for them to call that a draw, I won.
Yeah, and not long after that, you got the fight with Nestor Garza in Las Vegas. Paulie Ayala was also on the same card. That fight for me was one of your two best performances. What do you recall about that fight?
I just remember. Funny, I'll bring my dad up again. So my dad wasn't training me at the time. I'm in Vegas training and stuff, and then a week before the fight, he came into town, and then next thing I sparred. He goes, "Well, if you spar, if you're gonna box like that, you're getting beat." I'm like, "What?" Like my own dad sent to tell me I'm gonna get beat by this kid, and that just put a fire into my ass, and I right then I just knew that there's no way this kid was gonna beat me. Plus, I went ahead to Augie Sanchez at the time when I was sparring with Augie Sanchez. Augie is such a big puncher. Nestor Garza had a lot of knockouts and supposed to be a really strong fighter. But compared to Augie Sanchez, it was like nothing. So Augie Sanchez got me prepared for that fight where, the guy couldn't hit. Made the fight very easy, just boxing,
Yeah. Augie had a style that gave a lot of people problems. He was kind of a rough customer too, if I remember correctly.
Yes. He fought Prince Nassim Hamed, and
I believe he fought. Yeah, I believe he fought Manny Pacquiao as well, and that wasn't one of Pacquiao's best performances. No. He didn't fight Manny Pacquiao. He was the wrong weight division. Oh, okay.
He fought Floyd Mayweather as the amateur and beat Floyd Mayweather.
Mm-hmm. Did you know you would fight Ayala on that night? Did you have any idea that you would fight him in the future?
Oh, I had no clue. That was the last thing. No, I had no clue.
Yeah, and you defended the belt twice. You vacated to face Ayala. We both had you out boxing Ayala in the first fight. You should have got the nod. What were your thoughts on that fight? And I'm sure you agree with us that you won it.
Yeah, 100% I won that. Now, the thing about that is, Johnny Tapia also beat him, and they gave it to Paulie. And what it was, Johnny Tapia and I were friends as well. And Johnny Tapia was having Big Bear with me in camp, and he said about a week before the fight, we just ran at each other and stuff, And he was like, if it goes the distance, then you're not going to get the decision. And I was like, no, Johnny. If it goes the distance in my hometown, I'm going to get the decision. And when I fought, and I knew I won, and then they robbed me, it just took everything out of me. My heart, passion, just everything, and it caused me to start drinking and doing drugs and stuff, and just put me in a bad spot.
Yeah, and I mean, if I remember right, Ayala was pretty much Bob Arum's guy anyways.
Yeah. Well, I think it was his manager more so than anything. His manager was they're all, Jewish as well, just like Bob and stuff. But he supplied all the meats for all the Outback steakhouses and stuff, and very powerful man himself.
Yeah. So, what do you call the return bout and then the split decision loss to Gutty Espadas?
Well, see, that's another thing. My heart, nothing was in. My heart was broken. My passion was broken. But yeah, I took that fight and stuff. But I think I beat him. I could have did more, but see, he threw me off. That guy boxed extremely well because you know how he's used to, going forward. He's always busy going forward. He did his homework. I'm not gonna lie, and he boxed me. He threw me for a loop. I did not expect that. I did not train for that, and I had to go after him, and that's something that I wasn't prepared for. I still think that I pulled out. I think I still beat him. worst case scenario is a draw, but there's no way that I lost that fight.
And you feel the same way about the Gutty Espadis fight?
Well, that's a good spot fight. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
The second one, I didn't even try. The second I got a fight, I didn't even try, bro. I was like, so what's the point when you beat him? What's the point? He's just gonna screw you again.
Yeah, I know,
so
and that's boxing, isn't it?
So Yeah, but I guess I just didn't have the right people around me, the good people. Like, that's the reason why I'm gonna bring it. I started boxing, training people about a year ago because I don't want them to go through what I went through. And knowing that when they have something like that happen to them, when they fall, help them get back up. You know, I didn't have anyone like that.
So
I didn't have someone to help me out.
So was that your goal when you got out of boxing? I mean, from the time you were a boxer, the way you were treated, were you one of these guys that, like, someday I'm going to do something to help everybody else so they don't have to go through what I went through?
Sure, yeah, you know the right questions to ask, don't you? Hey, I hated boxing. I had nothing to do with boxing. I was like, because when I retired from boxing, I didn't want to retire. I felt like I still had more. But my best friend and former manager, Greg Hanley, he was like, you see this conversation we're having? I go, yes. He goes, I'd like to continue it. You're not going to fight anymore. And I was very angry. But, it took me some time. I retired back in 2010. But I just recently started training about a year and a half ago. So it took me some time to realize and just everything, one thing, the other things, and just send me back to boxing, because I've had this gym back in Vegas since 2002, 2003. So, but I never went to it. But now that I got back in, I miss it, and I love that. I have so much passion and stuff, but I see these guys, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, man, I have so much knowledge, and why I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through. And if there's any way possible to help somebody or help several, I want to help them. I want to be there.
Yeah, and you seem like you'd be the type of guy who'd be a good trainer because during your career, you understood the fundamentals, and that's a great way to bring a guy up.
Yeah, I'm doing good with that. Yeah, I'm still learning how to be a trainer because it's two different ways. Easy to go and fight, but it's harder to be a trainer because not everybody does what you're going to do. I knew what I had to do, and I just did it. Everybody else, they just wait for it to be told on. They wait for the trainer to tell. They wait to tell you what to do, how to do it. And I was the opposite. I was always the one I would just go. I would just do stuff. No one told me anything. So I'm trying to get used to that aspect in training. But very fun, very rewarding when you see your guys win.
So tell us a little bit about some of the boxers or some of the boxers you're working with today in your gym.
Well, I just got a couple. I have a kid. He was 4-0 when I met him, but he hadn't fought in 4 years, and he's out of Philly. And I was showing you want it and stuff. And you want to come back? Then now he's been with me. He's my first fighter, and now I think he's 8-0 with 7 knockouts. Oh, no, 6 knockouts. And he's going to be fighting again, I think, next month. Doing tremendous. He's southpaw. Really athletic. Kind of like a mix between Roy Jones and Manny Pacquiao. I got another undefeated guy. You guys know Israel Vasquez, the 122-pound champion?
Yeah.
I have his little brother, Damian Vasquez. I've been training with him for probably last year and a half as well. He is, I think he's 11-0 with 8 knockouts. Then I have another kid. He's a light heavyweight. He's 1-0 with 1 knockout. He's a turned pro. So.
Yeah,
and were you Tabiti is?
Yeah, he's the cruiserweight.
He's a cruiserweight, not mine. That's the reason I decided to turn my boy pro is because he was in the ring sparring with him. And then he drops him, pop, over with Floyd and everything at his Mayweather gym. So, this kid's ready to go pro.
Yeah, that's not bad at all because Tabiti's on the verge of he might be a top 10 guy already. If I'm not mistaken, he beat Steve.
He is. He's fighting for a title.
He beat Steve. Didn't he beat Steve Cunningham in his last outing?
Yes, sir. That's the fight that my boy dropped him. and he's never been dropped before. So, and the thing is just because I know the key is because this kid has been fighting before, you know, and I just got my hands on him probably 8-9 months ago. So, but even like the first time we sparred him, before his team was over there, they didn't say nothing. The second time they go, man, this kid's improved a lot since we used to spar him. You know, I like to think it's me because he's been with me, and I go, true. Then the very next time is when he dropped him. So we obviously we got no more calls. Call back to work with him. So,
right. Jeremiah.
Yeah, and we noticed that you were working the corner of Gamboa this past weekend. What do you think of the fight? And where do you think Gamboa goes from here?
Well, we both were told whoever won the fight is going to be fighting for a world title the next fight. So, but you know, with Gamboa's situation, it depends on who the champion is. I'll make about the right fight now, because you know he don't have very many fights left in his career. You know, he has a lot of amateur experience, a lot of pro. A lot of the promotional time took up a lot of his good years, but hopefully we'll be fighting for a world title.
All right. So speaking about that division, we got a big fight coming up between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. What's your take on that fight?
Mm-hmm. You know what? I think skill wise and stuff, they're pretty much about to even. The only I give Lomachenko the edge is because he's younger and youthfulness and big. He's big, you know. Rigondeaux is a very small guy. So that's the only thing I give Lomachenko the edge because of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, and I would agree with your assessment. I think Lomachenko is just a bit better. You know, not only is he bigger, but I think he's more versatile. I mean, when I look at Lomachenko and I look at some of his performances, he's been able to box if he needs to. He's been able to brawl if he needs to. Well, I don't want to say brawl because it's not as if he's in there slugging it out, but he can be the aggressor if he so chooses to. So I think skill wise,
let me just say this: I'm not sure, but I heard that Rigondeaux punches like a mule. This thing.
Yeah, and you can tell. I mean, he knocked. He was. I mean, he looks as if. I mean, you look at his last performance, and he whipped the guy's butt. You know, barring the controversy. But I agree that Rigondeaux definitely has some punching power. But I'm also not all that concerned with Lomachenko's chin. I haven't seen him hurt yet. And from what I understand, he was only down once as an amateur, and that was 398 fights, 397 fights.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's a bad boy. Yeah, I was surprised when he knocked out Nonito down there. So, Lomachenko. What's his name? Rigondeaux.
Yeah. All right, Jeremiah, you got anything else?
No, sir. I just want to thank.
Let me tell you something real quick. You know, the funny thing is, I talk about my name and stuff. I hate it. So the situation was like, I was like, I met an attorney. He said, oh, well, I'll fix it for you. So we went, usually it's really fast. It was like, I waited 8 months to get my name changed because I hate Clarence, I hate Richard, I hate Junior. So I was trying to change my name to Bones Adams because that's what I go by anyways all my whole life. So I was just officially going to get it changed then. And usually it's like a rubber stamp, it's okay. Next thing you know, I waited for 8 months and they called me into court. Court? Why do we have to go to court? The judge denied me my name changed.
Why did he deny you?
I'm like, what? He says, I think Clarence is a great name. I don't understand why you want to change it. Then he goes, I never denied it before, but denied. I'm like, what?
Well, did you find out later that his name was Clarence?
No. But no, this is crazy to me why he would do that. And he says, I just think it's a great name. It's a great name. And he goes, I never denied a name change before, but denied. He goes, you can appeal it if you want. Because I had no problem with it. But, he was like, I denied.
I didn't know they could deny it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't think so.
I thought you just paid your $50 or whatever, and you changed it.
It's not $50, but yeah. It's more,
well, the last time I heard about somebody changing their name was probably 30 years ago. It was probably $50 then.
No,
everything's a lot more expensive
I think
now.
it's a great name. I think it's a great name. You can just keep it home. I was like, wow, I was so angry. Like, what?
I didn't know they
keep you guys
did that.
in touch on it. Yeah, I didn't either. I thought it was gonna be something easy. That's what I said. Usually like a rubber stamp. Okay, name change. Okay, pay your money. Here you go. But no. They call me to court to tell me, nope, you're not.
Yeah, I figured maybe if it was something ridiculous, you're naming yourself Budweiser.
Ridiculous.
Well, they let Ron Artest change his name. They let Ron Artest change his name to Meta World Peace.
There you go. See? Yeah.
They let Marvin Hagler change his first name to Marvelous.
Yeah, wasn't Chad Johnson? Didn't Chad Johnson change his name for a while to Ocho Cinco or something?
Yeah, the football player.
No. Yeah.
And Ocho Cinco is worse than Clarence, though. But hey, Bones.
It's horrible.
And you'll always be Bones to us. I apologize for Jeremiah calling you Clarence there, but I would like to bring up the fact that I called you Bones from the get-go. But when I first got you on the phone for the interview, I wasn't sure whether to say Clarence or Bones, so I went with Bones. So maybe we need to interview. Maybe we need to get the judge on here and interview him about it.
I know. Hopefully I can get overturned eventually. But it's just crazy. I feel like if I was changing my name to Muhammad, they'd say okay. But since I wasn't,
maybe you should have. Do you like Muhammad or Clarence better?
No, well, Muhammad is 100% better than Clarence.
Well, there you go. Muhammad Bones Adams.
Why don't you like Clarence? Thank you guys for having me on, man.
Hey,
I appreciate it. It's really
thanks
fun.
for being on, Bones. Hope to have you back again sometime.
All right, brother. Anytime.
Yep. See you, Bones.
Have a good night.
You too, brother.
All right, Jeremiah. Any final closing remarks?
Any final remarks? Yes, sir. It was very exciting to have Clarence Adams on. No, Bones Adams. It's
you
good.
Almost did it again.
Yeah. It's I look at the Wikipedia page and I'm like, I don't know the guy personally. What does he prefer? But no, it's good to have him on. I mean, it's been a while since I think anybody's had the guy on. I mean, I really haven't heard much from him in a long time, and the guy was talented, and I think he's a case in point to the ills of boxing.
Yeah.
Too many times we see this sort of mismanagement. We see guys getting fucked because they don't have the proper management, or like you talk about with Paulie Ayala in Top Rank. If you're fighting somebody else's guy, or if you're fighting somebody else in their hometown, unfortunately you're likely to get the shaft. And in boxing, there are too many mechanisms working against you when you don't have a safety net to fall on, and unfortunately Adams was a product of that. But it was good to talk to him, good to get a little insight, and I hope listeners enjoy the show.
All right, and I want to remind all the listeners that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. we'll have a live interview with Chuck Wepner, the real Rocky, who, of course, fought Muhammad Ali for the heavyweight championship of the world. Then later on in the day at 3 o'clock, we'll have former middleweight contender Alex Ramos on. So make sure you come back to thegruelingtruth.net for that, or you can listen to us on Spreaker, where you can also chat with us on there. And if you want to ask Chuck or Alex a question, just type it in, and I'll ask it for you. You can also go to iTunes and download our app, which will give you all of our shows, whether live or tape delayed. Also go to thegruelingtruth.net for all our sports content. We'll have the College Football Weekly Show Wednesday night with myself, Brian Schmidt, and Bill Searcy, former Alabama offensive lineman, won 2 national championships with Bear Bryant. So I guess we're done for tonight, Jeremiah. So
yeah, I would just mention one other thing. All the listeners, be sure to tune into the Ringside Boxing Show, which recently had Abel Sanchez on and Max Garcia, and we will have the Inside Boxing Show on this week, as we do just about every week. So look out for that one as well.
Most definitely. So for Jeremiah Preisser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.